Well, there's a junior high school down the street from us, and you know, every day when they get out, there's probably 8 to 10 police, you know, on the corners. Now I don't know, you know, what the deal is, but you know, they have fights or whatever. But it's, I mean, what's that image? You know, what is that image for you? You know, when you get out of school and there's uniformed cops, you know, just standing around, you know, policing you. You know, they're not at white schools, I'm sure. You know, so, you know, but you know, look, there's so much, there's so many symbols, there's so many things that happen. I hope that, you know, again, one of the things that happens is that you know, white people start looking at this country in a different way, and that even more that people, progressive people, you know, white, black, you know, yellow, brown, as the Panthers would say, you know, start organizing and pushing for change. You know, young people are starting to do that. You know, I think that that's really important. You know, a year ago we were talking about a post-racial society. You know, nobody's talking about that now. You know, and it was a joke to most black people. You know, like post-racial society. Well, you know, you'd have to be crazy to start talking about that right now.
I feel, though, that in your documentary, that you are dealing with the issue of armed resistance in that documentary. I mean, you are questioning. There's sort of a trajectory, you know, that even in the beginning, when you do that montage, there's a feeling like that. Oh my God, we're moving towards, you know, something very violent, and so I like that what the documentary does is it questions armed resistance. On the other hand, I would say that it's very journalistic, and you don't really come down on one side or the other. I wonder, what were you thinking when you were making it? Were you thinking about that aspect of the documentary a lot?
No, I mean, you know, I was trying to tell a story. I was trying to tell a story honestly. You know, I didn't, you know, I mean, we kind of said, you know, we're just going to make this film, and we like where it comes out, you know, where it comes down, you know. I think we're trying to be fair to all sides.
Okay.
I think that, I think in some ways, you know, as horrible as things are that have happened in this country, you know, in some ways they benefit the film. Because, you know, now it's harder to say that the Panthers were these militant, crazy people. You know, all they were saying was, you know, if the police won't protect us, then we have to protect ourselves. If we have to, if our enemy is the police, then we would be stupid to just let them, you know, kill us and beat us. You know, that somehow we have to protect ourselves. If they are the ones who are the aggressors, you know. And they took advantage of, you know, quirks in the law, you know, that in California you could carry a gun out in the open, a loaded gun, which, you know, unfortunately those laws are being passed again, you know, all over the country that say, you know, you can carry, you know, a loaded weapon, you know, out in the open. So I'm just wondering, you know, what happens if that happens again and we have a group of black men, you know, get together and start carrying guns, you know, as a group out in the open. Then maybe, you know, those crazy open carry laws will start to be retracted, because that's what the Panthers did. They got retracted right away. They made it illegal to carry an open weapon in California.
You've made many films, like I want to say about a dozen, that have to do with the black experience in America. Is there a lesson from this film? I mean, when you look at that sweep of the 3 films, actually, or 4, what are the lessons that the power structure, whether it's white or whatever, what is it that we're not learning?
I think the lesson is a positive lesson. The lesson is that you can make change if you unite and know what you're doing and think it through. The change can be made. You know, Freedom Riders, you know, ends with the taking down those signs on buses that we couldn't sit together. Freedom Summer ends with African Americans getting the right to vote and the laws being passed to ensure the right to vote. The Panthers, ends in a very negative way in some ways, but I think what's so amazing about the Panthers is that we are sitting here now, 50 years later, talking about the Black Panthers, who started out, with 6 guys who just said, look, we've got to figure out something that we can do to stop the police from, beating us and killing us in Oakland, California. So I think that if you organize, that's the lesson. If you organize, things can change. And I think that there's a lot of young people, now who need that message. Who are organizing, and it's important that they understand that they're not the first and they're not alone.
Okay. And how important is the Dixie flag to come down on the state capitol?
Well, I argue with my wife about it. She says it's really important. I believe it's important. Look, you got to take the thing down, but that's a symbol. That's just a symbol. And take it down. But it's easy to fixate on that. What I mean? That's going to come down.
Yeah.
The flag will come down.
Right.
But what does that do? As you were saying earlier, it's the gun control laws. That Obama, Obama said a sentence about it, and that was it. Nobody can even talk about that. The fact that anybody, can get a gun, and it makes us all, always unsafe. I'm sure, everybody has thought about that in the last week. You look around on the subway or on the bus, and you're like, well, somebody here might have a gun, and it's just nuts. And so, that's, the flag is a symbol, and it's great that horrible symbol gets taken down. And it's symbolic that the flag gets taken down. That's a symbolic thing. There'll be a million newsmen there as the flag goes down for the last time, and they'll shoot that. It'll be a big deal. But that makes no difference in our concrete difference in our lives. But it's gun control. It's the economics of this country. Where people, are struggling, to eat and to put their kids to school, and the schools just get worse and worse, and everything, all the public services get worse, while, people are making more and more money at the top, and the people who are passing the laws are the people who don't have to worry about any of those things. Everybody does. It's kind of like, what kind of country do you want to live in?
That's right.
And that's the final. That's the final thing. What kind of country do you want to live in? But I think the problem is that look, there's something to be said by there's so many toys and so much stuff in this country that you can say, I don't care what kind of country I live in, as long as I can have my $10 million apartment and then my boat and my fly around on my property. I don't really care about what's happening with you. Look, in some ways, that makes sense for that 1%, but we have to remember that they are 1% of the country, and they can be put in the place they should be put in by the majority of the people.
Yeah, I think we were lucky to grow up in the time that we did.
Yeah, I think we're entering into a really interesting time. I think it's a really interesting time. We've traveled all over the country with the Panther film, and the young people that come out and what they say. Look, from one of the first screenings that we had, they made me stop saying stuff like, oh, young people need to do this, young people need to do that, because they were like, hey, we're doing it. We are doing it. We are organizing. And they are. So. I think it's an interesting time. Look, we all maybe we're just human for us to want to ignore stuff and say, look, everything's okay. It's hard. But when you can't ignore it anymore, that's when, part of what people don't understand was part of the whole concept, the central concept of the civil rights movement was to make it so people could not ignore what was going on in the South.
Yeah,
that was the one guiding principle of the civil rights movement, was to say, look, okay, you see these people sicking dogs on us, you see them with the fire hoses, you see people getting beat, which side are you on? You had to choose a side. And that was a brilliant strategy, and it worked, And I think right now we're into a phase where, you know, it's impossible to have blinders on anymore. You know, people are seeing, and people, once you see, you start talking and you start thinking, you know, who do we want to be?
I have this quote right that I wrote down so I could read it to you. What were the Panthers about? An undying love of the people. And someone said in your film. And I thought, yeah, in the end, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In the end, that's what had to happen.
Right. I mean, I think that's a very important sentence, and that's actually the final sentence in the film, because I think that's, you know, that we hear from the Panthers. I think it's really important that that's what, you know, the bottom line was. You know, right or wrong, you look, the Panthers made a lot of mistakes,
Right.
you know, but it came out of an undying love for the people, and I think that's what we, you know, have to get back to, you know, an undying love for the people.
Thank you.